Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news for the 30th of October. How is everybody doing? I hope you enjoyed that video there, the latest one in the GF-17 tutorial series, all about the C-802AK anti-shipping missile. Let me know how my audio is, by the way. This is a new audio setup, so things should be much improved. Welcome to the stream Tog, first, after all. Stevie B, Mark S. Welcome to the stream, everybody. So next week, I'm going to cover the other version of that missile, the C-802AKG, which is kind of the same, except it's got a longer range and it's for use against ground targets. So think SLAM or Tomahawk. And it also has man-in-the-loop terminal guidance with a TV camera, which is nice. Welcome Fair, welcome Rusty, welcome Storm King Barry. And welcome Yappy Dog. Audio is perfect. So with that, let's, without any further ado, let's bring on board the one, the only, the dotChuckles. Howdy doody, sir.
Howdy. Yes, indeed. Another Saturday, another DCS news.
Another swig.
Victory sip.
Yes, indeed. Victory sip.
It's a particularly good Saturday, actually. Because for those of us in the UK, we get an extra hour in bed.
What? What are you talking about?
It's the end of BST. We're switching over to GMT tonight. So,
do I get that too?
Yeah.
I think it's the same across Europe.
Different date. Is it? Right. Well, yeah. So it's tonight. Well, technically it's tomorrow. It's at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and then
which I always
changes and becomes 3 o'clock in the morning again.
I always find that really annoying because I have to set my alarm and get up and then wind my clock and then go back to bed, and it's just like a big faff. Why do they do this to us? Anyway, as
okay, Mr. Dickensian London,
I'm gonna put my my shawl on and my little hat with the bobble.
Have your little oil lamp on a handle, and it's also a really good night because it's if you're a fan of The Crow, it's Devil's Night. It's the night before Halloween, so we've all got to get our best Eric Draven makeup on and dig out our Sisters of Mercy albums.
Okay, I like Frantic's comment. First we hydrate, then we educate.
Then we educate. Yes.
Yes, indeed, sir. So what has actually been happening this week? Well, we do, as always, have the Eagle Dynamics DCS newsletter. Let's go and take a little peek at that. And one of the first things that they talk about is the Steam Halloween sale. Fire up, fire up. Here's another reference that I don't get.
What's this happy horse shit?
I don't know.
You need to have seen The Crow. I'm revoking your goth card.
I never had one.
The Crow. Well, you certainly, if you've not seen that film. Anyway, moving on.
My sister tried to put eyeshadow on me one time, but I don't really have visible upper eyelids, so she put it on me, and then I opened my eyes and it was gone. So, there you go. I can't be a goth, sadly. Anyway, the Steam Halloween sale is now ongoing until the 1st of November. You can find our most popular modules with up to a 50% discount. So there you go, everybody. Note that the Eagle Dynamics own eShop sale is until the 3rd of November, so take that, Valve.
Yeah, and I think generally encourage people to use the standalone launcher for lots of good reasons. But if you are still on Steam, go take advantage of the sale and then switch.
Exactly. That's the nice thing. The modules that you purchase on Steam are transferable back to the normal doodah. However, it doesn't work the other way. So but I don't know why you would go the other way. But yeah, if you're on the standalone launcher, you can't transfer modules into Steam.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Ravent has a question for us, dotChuckles. He has a question.
Yes, I saw that. Shall we finish the newsletter and then come back to that? Because it's a good question.
Certainly.
And I think it probably needs to take a little bit of time to answer.
Absolutely. So Ravent, you're going to have to watch the rest of the video. You can't just listen to our answer and then step out. So just you sit tight, young man. Anyway.
It's a very good question, though. It's a very good question.
It is a good question. Okay, so the DCS AH-64D tutorial series has started. We already saw the introduction video last week. Very nice to watch. Supposedly, our man Wags, Daddy Wags, is working on the iHads HDU tutorial, and that's coming very soon. I kept hitting refresh on his channel before before we came on, but.
Yeah, what do you reckon he drops it whilst we're on air? Because, clearly he watches and he wants to give us breaking news.
Well, I'll have a look before the end, but I suspect not.
Yeah.
Well, frantic is all caps today. So anyway, this is really exciting. The other thing is they've been making progress in the pilot model, which is cool, because of course we did notice in the previous video there was no pilot model.
Yeah, some of our viewers spotted that. We're quite quick to spot that. Looks quite nice. Looks like there's a little bit of scanning going on there, maybe.
Yeah, actually, let's jump down to that.
Yeah.
Look at these fine-looking gentlemen here. Complete.
Yeah, that's
with bits and bobs. You can tell that they're army aviators because they actually have chest rigs.
Yeah. No, there's some nice stuff going on there from 3D modeling point of view. Like, I think there's a lot of sculpting going on, sort of high poly mesh and baking and things like that. So yeah, they're doing a nice job. Yeah, that's going to look good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Ooh, there's an F-16. So yeah, we've got some of this, and you can see in evidence the detail on the helmet that they were calling out last week. They've done some nice modelling there, and that's probably about it for that. And then there's the other thing they were talking about, which is they now have merchandise.
Yeah.
They've teamed up with Spring to bring you our first ever line of DCS World merchandise. I'm looking for a Harrier t-shirt, so call me back when you've got one of those.
Yeah, like I looked at the lineup. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that ED are putting some merchandise out, some official merchandise. I think it's nice to fly the flag and all that kind of stuff. Can't say I'm that taken with their designs. I mean,
actually, let's source the opinion of chat on this one. So, chat, let's go down this particular rabbit hole. So, for example, A10 Tank Killer. Take a little look at this. We've got the front, pretty minimalist, and we've got the back. There's an A10 firing multiple Mavericks. It looks like all at once, just willy-nilly. Disgraceful.
Yeah.
I love this. DCS, the channel map. Now, who doesn't?
Yeah.
who doesn't want a hoodie declaring their love for the channel map? Oh yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop €40 on that. Yeah.
I don't want to be unfair because I think it's a cool idea. I just think that it's a bit random, some of their choices of module, and the pricing is kind of weird. If you look at it, we've got like the Viper is $40.01. And the A10 is $40.04, and then the Thunderbolt is $40.02. Like, is it? Are we paying for individual threads, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think, like, do you know what it is? It's like, the designs in of themselves are not bad. That somebody with some talent has produced these. I think they're just for a different crowd. Like, I can't see actual DCS players necessarily wanting that type of design. Yeah. I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, certainly it's not floating my boat. I love the idea, but it's not. The designs aren't floating my boat.
Like, I'm usually, and I might not be representative, but the kind of stuff that I go for is like when you've got the plan views of the aircraft, they're kind of cool. Those posters, like the one you did for me of the F5, that kind of side-on with the poster look, those are classic.
Like your classic squadron print. Yeah.
Those are nice. Yeah. And actually, I forget who it is, but there's a company who do HUD. The representation of different heads-up displays.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, do you know what? The kiddies will like it, but then at that price point, the kiddies can't afford it. So, I guess.
Once they release something cool, I will definitely buy some because I want to support them, and I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I like the opinion. The opinion. I like the concept. The concept. Yeah.
Also, one of the ones that looks the coolest is this F-16 T-shirt, which isn't in their store. Where's this T-shirt? I would actually buy this.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they're still working on it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. That's what we've got in the newsletter for this week. It's a pretty small one. That makes me think that our man Wags is probably working on the next tutorial for the Apache just now, and that's going to be the next big bit of news, hopefully next week. So beyond that, we had a patch on Thursday of all days.
Yeah.
We normally have them on Wednesdays or Fridays, so this was a little bit bizarre. But happy to have a patch whenever they come. One of the big things is that it now rains. Overcast and Rain 3 preset seemed to have no rain or rain effects. They've now fixed that. That was one that people were complaining about a little bit. Was there anything else particularly exciting in here? I'm not 100% sure.
There was a lot of fixes. It was a lot of fixes. I think probably the most exciting thing is the thing that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes that you discovered.
Yes, is that the frame rate is now better.
Yeah, and like you guys, I think you guys had a look at that, and there was some speculation, or in fact, I don't know if it was speculation, if it actually came from ED, that it was to do with craters dropping the frame rate. But you said you had a feeling that you thought that might not necessarily be 100% correct.
It's not the whole picture, because yes, frame rates were bad around the craters, but they were also bad in lots of other places. So I think we were seeing multiple problems all in one. But whatever it was, they fixed it now, which is really nice. I was flying on Thursday, and the frames were great.
Yeah, so I mean, I again, when we were doing our little pre-show chit-chat and catch-up, I mean, my speculation or my feeling is that I wonder if this is not something to do with the implementation of new APIs into the graphic engine, that whilst we're not necessarily seeing the functions of these APIs, they're hooking into a whole bunch of stuff and maybe causing some problems, unintentionally. So
that's certainly possible.
In a way, it's almost like maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the drop in frame rates is a good thing, because it means they are actually working on graphics API stuff.
It means they touched something, even if they broke it.
Yeah. They touched it and they broke it,
which is common. I know how that goes, and we must keep in mind that we are an open beta, so bugs and little issues are going to happen.
Exactly.
We did get some good stuff for the F-16 though. There were corrections in the new Bullseye implementation, corrections for the air-to-ground radar. So that was nice to see. Further patches for the Mi-24 to do with Petrovich. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Gazelle.
Gazelle, yeah.
The Gazelle was a funny one, because in the last few patches we've seen Polychop make changes to the Gazelle, which is super good. I'm really happy to see that. However, this is 4 fixes for pretty much the only 4 things they added in the previous patch. So basically everything they added in the previous patch was broken, and they've now fixed it, which is... Yeah. I'm only teasing. Like, this is how it goes. This happens. I just thought it was funny. Here's 4 new things. Oh, whoops, they're all broken. Okay, here's 4 hot fixes. But super good that they're continuing to work on the Gazelle, and I hope they do continue to give it some love, because I do like the Gazelle.
Yeah.
But yeah, small patches to the GF-17, a bunch of small patches for the F-14. It, of course, got an absolute slew of new functionality in the previous patch, so not surprising that they're tweaking and fixing bits and bobs here. So it's good to see all of this. I'm not sure if there's anything that was massively exciting. No, lots of adjustments. Changes to campaigns, and then that was pretty much it. So a smaller patch, but as always, very good to see. And next we have something that Razbam put into their... Oh, actually, I can't click on these. Damn! Okay, right. Give me one sec. Let's talk about it for a moment while I go ahead and bring it up in Facebook so that we can see the pictures properly, because that's annoying. This is part of the reason why I don't like the fact that they're using Facebook. And
I mean, like, why... Yeah. Why use Facebook?
Why are you doing this to us?
The only people left on Facebook are boomers and QAnon conspiracists.
Yes, indeed.
Stop it.
Oh, okay. Tog is saying 15 minutes in and Deepak hasn't given me tinnitus yet. Yes, I intend not to. So, Strike Eagle. Sorry, it took me a while to make my way all the way round to the point. Razbam have released a couple of images of the cockpit of the Strike Eagle. For some reason, just the right-hand console. I guess that's the one they've done.
That's the one they finished. Yeah.
So, we have the pilot's right-hand console. And then we also have is it the WSO? Is that what we call this chappy? Or actually, I've gotten this back to front. This is the pilot's.
Is this yes.
And this is the WSO.
No, wait. No, that's the pilot. That's the WSO.
Ah, yes, of course.
Just stick there, that's his controller thing.
Yeah, okay, so I did have it right the first time. So yeah, looking good. Razbam are very good when it comes to cockpits these days. I do like their work. But when is the Strike Eagle coming,
Yeah,
nobody knows.
I know, but it does look good. I mean, that is a nice cockpit render.
It is.
I'm particularly liking just the sort of where see on the pilot's right side. There's like a little bit of wear where he might rest, rest an elbow or something like that. And they're paint. They're what's the
texture?
What am I trying to say? No, they're telling a story with that texturing. Looking at where the wear would be, how the cockpit's used, things like that. It's they're not just putting distressing for the sake of it. It's all the little nicks and dings. They've all got a purpose there, and that's good. It's good work there.
It's not like somebody just got steel wool and uniformly applied it.
Yeah. There's a story to the wear in that cockpit, and it's nice to see that they're paying attention to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Tog. I hope the Strike Eagle is a success. I had many happy hours of playing Jane's F-15E Strike Eagle. Very good fun. Little bit concerned about the whole AI position. I don't know if they'll revisit that at some point, but in the meantime, I guess I could just play with a buddy.
I think they're going to have to.
Yes, indeed. So there is that, and then.
I'm resisting. I'm not gonna. That comment that just came out in chat. I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna get on that bandwagon.
Yeah, because I'm dunked on the F-15 enough. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, Yappy. It's perfectly reasonable.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all going to be okay. Okay, and another piece of news that we had this week was Flying Iron Simulations provide DCS A7E Corsair II Q4 development update. So this, we were debating this a little bit earlier, whether or not this is like an officially announced project or not, because they don't have like an announcement trailer. They don't have a section on Eagle's forums. However, they're clearly working on it, so that's cool. And we have a bunch of early. These look like out-of-game renders, but still really cool to see.
Yeah.
And is this a carrier-based aircraft or is this land?
It is. Well, the F8 was. I'm pretty sure it's carrier-based.
Yeah. So this is an attack aircraft. Nice old school looking INS there. That's pretty cool to see.
Oh, I mean, it's super. It is old school. I mean, you're same vintage as the Phantom. It's that kind of a period. It's. I mean, I love it. I love the way it looks. I have to say, if it's an official module, I'd buy it. I mean, I know the F8 was like considered the last of the gunfighters. It was basically bristling with guns in its nose. Although I believe it only actually ever scored 4 victories with its guns. So the moniker is probably not entirely deserved, but. They also had this really unique system for coming back, in that the wing box, the whole wing box tilted up, So you had like the step just behind the cockpit when it did it, and it was to basically allow the nose to be dipped lower on approach, so that it improved its visibility, which is. I think that's just, it's so typical of the period to solve an engineering solution that way. And it's part of the reason why I like it.
Yeah, no, I've seen images of it deployed that way, where the wing is, as you say, the entire wing is one piece, and it attaches to the fuselage, and it does tilt up, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the A7 did that. I think it might have been the F8 that did it, or if they both did it. I could be wrong, because I frequently. I have to admit, like I say, I just talk crap on the internet. Don't take anything I say as the gospel truth. But I frequently mix these aircraft up because they look very, very similar. One is just longer, but basically has the same plan form. So I'm prepared to be corrected on whether both of them do that. But it comes from a family of jets that I really like.
And is this? I'm trying to remember now. Is this the one where it was possible to fold the wings in line with the fuselage when it was on board the carrier? Because there was one that did something like that.
Yes, certainly. I think that was the case with the F8 Corsair II. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could do that, and I'm pretty sure one of them launched like that.
Huh. Oops.
And flew.
Mark S is telling us only the F8 had the tilt feature.
Only the F8 had the tilt feature, right? Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense, because I think the F8 was very much carrier based. But yeah, regarding the wings folding, I'm pretty sure one of them got launched like that, and it flew fine.
I'm wondering if anyone's ever launched the F-18 with the wings folded up. Is that even something that a test pilot would do just to see what happens?
I don't know, and I'm not even sure what the circumstances around the Corsair launching like that were, but it is reported that it flew fine. It was a bit of a scary time, but it happened.
There's that famous picture, of course, with the F-14 with the asymmetric sweep, but that was actually during a flight test, and they did it on purpose.
Yes, yeah, they did it in flight test. Yeah, one wing painted orange or something like that. I'm pretty sure I've seen that photograph.
Yes. It's very cool.
Yeah. That was part of the testing. I believe they did it with the Raven as well, the F-111. I think it was part of the, if you've got variable geometry wings, that's part of the things that they test, is like, well, what happens if one of them doesn't move? So
yes. Makes me think about the Harrier and what happens if somehow the nozzles become desynchronized. I know that they're actually mechanically linked, because one of the things that the pilot does during his walk around is he grabs one of the nozzles and he moves it through some of its motion, and he watches to make sure the other ones move as well.
I would imagine that if you had like a decoupling of the thrust vectoring in the Harrier, you would be getting out. I think you would throw that plane away,
Well, that's pretty much the entire emergency checklist in the Harrier, is if this happens, eject. If this happens, eject. If this happens, eject.
Dear God, yeah. I mean, the nasty thing is that I think the earlier Harriers, if you ejected at the hover, like, you weren't necessarily guaranteed of surviving that. It was like, it was a bad time if you had to get out when that happened.
Well, it's interesting to think about 0-0 ejection seats, and the fact that even if your ejection seat is 0-0, if your sink rate is high enough, it's not going to matter. Anyway.
I was quite surprised to learn how actually even modern, like things like Aces 2, like modern ejection seats, quite how limited their ejection envelope is. Like, it's not as big as you think. It's not a guaranteed you'll get out and you'll be all right. It's I was quite surprised to learn that, but they're still amazing bits of kit.
Oh, very much so. Better to fly with than without.
Yes, absolutely.
And, gravity is a tough mistress. But yeah, that is all of the news elements that we had for this week. So I think it's about time that we went back to Revenant's question. He was asking us which is easier. Let me check. I think his question was which is easier to fly.
Which is easier to learn. Yeah. I think it was easier to learn. Yes.
Correct. Easier
which
to
aircraft
learn.
Do you think is easier to learn to use? The F-18 or the F-16? That's an awesome question. Thank you very much for asking it.
Yes. I'll let you go first.
Thanks. One thing I'd say about the F-16, if you want to get in and just start it up and go away and fly, the F-16 is easier.
Do you think so?
I think so. Yeah. Whereas the F-18, to get that jet booted up and operational, there's quite a lot of steps. But then I wouldn't necessarily, because some people play, some people use DCS differently, and that can all be circumvented with the auto startup and things like that.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if that's necessarily a metric that I would apply. I think I would say my gut instinct is that the F-16 is possibly easier to use than the F-18. I'd say the F-16 is easier to learn than the F-18. Not because it's simpler, but because I think the basics, like to be able to get in it, take off, fly, find a target, kill it, those are more readily available to the pilot because various design choices than in the F-18. I think the F-18, there's a little bit more digging you need to do in the systems to be able to get to that point.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
For me, it as always, it really depends. What do you want to do with the aircraft? And if we're talking about the simplicity of starting it up and flying it, I actually think the F-18 is easier. The F-18 is easier.
Really?
Yeah, the F-18 is easier to get it in the air. Without setting up any of the tactical systems, because as soon as you get into the tactical systems, the F-18 is a myriad of systems and switches. Yeah. The F-16 is also very easy to start up and just fly, but then to actually make use of the avionics is not that much more difficult. Whereas with the F-18, it is quite complex. Then you talk about capabilities, and I know that's actually not the question, but I think it's always important to think about the capabilities and what you want to do with the aircraft. The F-18 flies further, and it can carry more munitions. It has slightly more advanced avionics. The F-16 is faster. It's a better dogfighter. It can't land on a carrier, as Marquez says. That's the other thing. The F-16 is actually harder to land.
Oh God, yes.
Than the F-18.
Yeah.
The F-18 you can just slam it on the ground, slam it on the runway, and it will kind of deal with itself. The F-16 you have to really be careful about. You want to deploy the air brakes. You want to hold the nose up and aero brake. The actual wheel brakes on the F-16 are anemic, so you kind of you want to be kind of giving it like bursts of braking, and you want to try and aero brake as much as possible. So yeah, the F-16 you're probably going to brake it the first few times you try to land it. The F-18 you can slam that thing on the ground and it's going to be fine.
Yeah. I think in terms of easy to learn, again, I think to reiterate, it comes down to what do we break it down into? Like, okay, so we've looked at systems, and like the F-18 tactical systems, definitely harder than the F-16.
Yes.
Right? Actually flying the aircraft, I'd say they're both really easy to fly.
Modern fly-by-wire.
Landing. Yeah, apart from the landing, where the F-18 is easier.
Yeah.
Easy to learn how. Right. So let's look at tactical stuff, right? Is it easier to learn to dogfight in an F-18 or an F-16?
F-16.
I'd absolutely say it's the F-16. Yeah, if you want to learn to dogfight, the F-16 would be the aircraft you'd want to do it in. Like, I think it's more capable. You'll get a better sense of, actually having a victory every now and then. And I think it's more forgiving in a dogfight. I think you can do more things that are perhaps not strictly
good tactics.
Not, and still come out on top because you've got a lot of power, and I mean a lot of thrust to weight ratio that can get you out of trouble. That the F-18 doesn't have. I think when you go into a dogfight in the F-18, you've got to be pretty on the ball and you've got to be flying correct because your energy management is much more of a factor in the F-18. I'm not saying that it's not a factor in the F-16, not for a minute. Energy management in the F-16 is still really, really important, but I think it's less of a concern in the F-16 than in the F-18. That's my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that's absolutely the case. If you want to shoot stuff down, you fly an F-16. And the cool thing is, the F-16 to my mind is kind of the original modern fourth generation multi-role aircraft. It can just about do everything. I would say for air to ground, the F-18 is actually better. However, the F-16 is good enough at everything, whereas the F-18 is better at air-to-ground, less good at air-to-air. Although it's a pretty decent BVR machine. Like, if you have to, back in the day, back in the 80s or whenever, if you're flying cap for a US aircraft carrier, you're pretty comfortable in an F-18. You're pretty happy. You've got everything you need. But the F-16 is going to be slightly better.
Yeah, I think to come back to his original question, I would stand by the F-16 as being easier because I think you can put less effort in. I don't know if effort's the right word. I think you need to do less to be able to get really effective with the F-16 than you need to put into the F-18. I think both can be equally effective, but I think the F-18 takes a little bit more work to learn how to become effective in it.
Yes. That's for sure.
I'd probably stick with that. Yeah.
Or just get the GF-17.
Tomcats. If you really want a learning curve.
Yes. Or follow my tutorials and just fly the GF-17. But nobody else will fly it with you. That's the only problem. It's not well represented.
Yeah, but it's a really good question, and thank you very much for asking it, and I hope we've kind of answered it. The honest truth is, do you know what? If you get either, you're gonna have to put some work in. It's not, and that's what DCS is. DCS rewards people for putting a little bit of work in. So either module, you're going to have to put some work in. But I think no matter which one you pick, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy learning it, and you're going to enjoy becoming effective in it. And when you've done one, you'll do the other, and you'll love both of them.
Yeah, totally. As Yappy Dog was saying, it's a close thing. So, I think you could choose either, and you're not going to be sad. What? Mr. Yeti, Wag's video is out! ! We knew
it! Right, time, let's go. Right. See, it's because Wags is in chat here, keeping quiet. Oh, it's not, is it?
Who? Oh, how dare you! Okay, banhammer. Mr. Yeti, you did indeed make us look. Well done.
Well done. Yeah. The thing is that it's around about now that he actually does put a video out, so...
You make me sad, sir.
Oh, I'm so sad. I was ready to jump all over that and talk about it, and now we can't. Oh, dear.
Oh, well. Well played, sir. Well played. But with that in mind, we don't actually have anything else for this week. It's been a slightly quieter week. Just stay on his page. Hit F5, F5, F5.
Yeah, it has been a bit quiet. I mean, yeah, we've kind of seen this though, that like things get a little bit quiet just before big things happen, and I think we all know what the big thing is.
Yes, yes, we do.
Yeah. I still can't see it happening in November, and I still think we're looking at December for it. You know,
yeah, absolutely. We're looking at December, I would suspect, but it'll be very well received when it comes.
Yeah, and then we'll have to see what comes after that, whether they're going to start pushing their engine updates and things like that. Is that next big thing for them? I
don't know, because the people the developers who work on the modules, are those the same people who work on the engine? I would suspect no. Any games development I've been involved in, and I work in the games industry, but I've got to say my direct contact with game teams is fairly minimal. But what I've observed is that the people who work on your engine are nothing to do with the people who work on your actual games or modules in this case. So you're going to have to keep the module makers busy. They're going to have to do something. And I suspect the next one is the MiG-29 or Black Shark 3. I don't know what they're actually going to prioritize.
One thing, my brain just crashed. Am I right in thinking it's been a long time since ED teased a new a new module without teasing something else as an Easter egg?
Yeah, it's been a while since they were doing that. Yes.
Yeah, there's
what's that Hind doing there?
Exactly. Yeah, there's been nothing. No kind of little Matt Wagner Easter egging going on. Yeah. So yeah,
maybe we haven't been looking hard enough.
Well, maybe, but I mean, this is what makes me wonder that they're going to be focusing more on their core. Which we've said for ages that's what they need to do.
Yes, yeah, true. Yeah. But if you think about it, the module developers, what are they working on right now? They're heavy in development of the F-16. There's still probably a little bit of polishing going on in the F-18, so that's 2. Hind, lots to... Well, I don't know about lots, but there's still clearly work to do in the Hind.
Yeah.
And they're developing the Apache. So they have 4 live projects.
They are seriously busy then, aren't they? That's like... Mark S saying, "'Tis the end of modules?" ?
I don't think so.
Maybe. Well, no. Maybe for a while. Actually, I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair question, and I think maybe for a while, because you make a great point. There's some big modules here that have just released. One really big module that is really, really complex that's just about to release. They're going to be kind of busy. Maybe.
And as they finish those 4 active modules, they're going to shift people around, and then eventually when people are available, they're going to get them to work on Black Shark 3 and MiG-29. So, there might not be anything kind of new being announced anytime soon, that's for sure, because there is a lot still on the table.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole Black Shark 3 thing, I mean, we still don't really quite know what... how deep that's gonna be.
I don't think Eagle know.
yeah. I think they're having some trouble with it.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because in their forums there was a period when they were talking about it, and they kind of at one stage said, "Oh no, we've been told we can't do it," and then they came back later and said, "No, we can do it," and then they came back after that and said, "Well, we can half do it," because there's a bunch of stuff we're not allowed to include now. So I really don't know.
Okay, all right. Here's Kartob is posting in chat now. Think it'll be long. Right. Okay. Didn't think it would be long before we start seeing some things from the MiG-29 team probably after the Mi-24 is a bit more polished. Kate said it was the same team.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
BS3 is a bit silly, in my opinion, says Carr. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
it's the original module. So I guess
the original module.
They want to implement all the fancy new technologies they developed in it, keep it up to date. Is it going to represent an improvement in that aircraft's capabilities? I kind of doubt it. I think what we're going to see is something a bit more like the polish that they brought to the A10C.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that they want to keep all their modules up to the latest standard that they have. And I think that was easy to do with the A10 because they were under less constraint. I think with the Black Shark, the issue is that if they just let it quietly die, there would be a lot of cries about, well, we don't have any Red 4 rotary. And okay, so they could, and the thing is I don't think they can really do a Red 4 rotary other than the existing Black Shark because they're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're... I don't have...
Sorry, I should add modern Red 4 rotary, because there's the Hind, of course, but...
Yeah. I don't know what their original contract was for this, but I suspect it was with Kamov and not with the Russian military, and they were basically simulating a prototype that belonged to Kamov. The problem now is that these helicopters don't belong to Kamov anymore. They belong to the Russian military. I would suspect the Russian military has a bit of a say about what they can and can't do these days. But this is all speculation on my part. I don't know anything. But yeah, the original one was based on a single prototype aircraft that I don't even know if it ever saw service. Because at the time that it came out, they said at the time that it was based on a prototype. Because if you look for images of Ka-50 cockpits, there's like no two that are the same, for one thing. They seem to be very dissimilar. And I've also not seen any that look quite like the one we have. They're all a little bit different. So I think that the Ka-50 we have is effectively a pre-production prototype.
Yeah. So I think that kind of backs into a corner, but at the same time, they do want to keep it. Excuse me. They do want to keep it, up to the standard.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, we've got to remember how long ago was Black Shark when it came out?
2008.
Jesus
or even
Christ.
Maybe even earlier, but yeah, that kind of period.
Okay, Cartover was producing small numbers and did see service in Chechnya. Funny enough, Chechnya was pinging it at the back of my brain that it might have seen some service there.
Yeah, it was only ever used for anti-insurgency, and my point was the particular one that they modelled was not a production helicopter. They did model a prototype.
So, 15 years ago, I think it was hard for them to see, the direction. I don't think they realized what was going to happen with DCS.
No.
I think, I think they were still,
keep in mind
evolving.
That when Black Shark was released, there was no DCS.
That's right. Yeah, it was. Wasn't it? I thought it was digital DCS Black Shark.
No. They released Black Shark, which was a standalone simulator.
You're right. You are absolutely right. Yes.
They then released.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they then released the A10, which was also a standalone simulator. So they had two completely separate simulators, and then later they brought the two together in DCS.
Yes. No, you're entirely correct. Yeah, no, I'd forgotten about that. It was that weird, that weird hinterland in between Lomac and DCS. No, I entirely. No, you're right. That was a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think they've just painted themselves into a bit of a corner with it because the world changed, governments changed viewpoints. It's so. Yeah, I think they're just a bit stuck with it.
Yeah. And I think worst case scenario, they're going to tart up the textures and make it look nice, and maybe tweak some of the modelling, and I'm fine with that. I guess if they're not going to change the capabilities of the helicopter, they're probably not going to charge for the update either. If they're going to add systems and add weapons, I can imagine they are going to charge us some money. Otherwise, I can imagine it'll be free. I think they were suggesting that the Iglas it was still possible to include those. I think the thing that was contentious was the missile approach warning system in the RWR. I think they were having trouble trying to get clearance to include that, which sort of makes sense. These are pretty sensitive bits of electronics. So we might not see those, but hey, maybe we'll get an Igla, which would be kind of fun.
Yeah. But I mean, still, like if they get the MiG-29 out, that's going to be great. I mean, I'll fly the hell out of that. That's I'm
looking forward to the MiG-29. That would be cool.
Yeah. Like I have to say, back in Lomac days, the MiG-29 was that and the T-Toad were my weapons of choice. That's what I was in all the time.
Yeah, me too. I enjoyed those a lot.
Yeah, like I remember causing havoc with the MiG-29, just high altitude. And rolling over upside down and using the infrared camera.
Oh yeah, and the electro-optical system.
Yeah, just coming down from altitude, like they don't even get like a lock warning. Just you are dead.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it for sure.
And the T-Toad as well. I loved the Toad just because of how good the flight model was in it.
Yeah. Well, that was their first external flight model.
It was, yeah.
So that was kind of did that come out before the KA-50? I feel like it did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
That was their first external flight model, and then they were into the KA-50.
Yeah, that was like the peak of Lomac was the EFM for the Toad.
And it was years and years before we got it for like the Su-27 and the MiG-29 and so on. We only got that, 3 years ago or so?
I know, right?
It was ages before they managed to do it for the others.
I know.
And then if you were anything like me, you immediately held down the pitch override and then ripped your wings off. I did that in the flanker a few times. It's like, I think originally the key was to pull the Cobra maneuver, but it's basically the pitch override. So you'd press and hold that, and I'm like, I wonder what happens if I boom.
Just that's what happens.
Shrapnel everywhere.
Yeah, no, the EFM. That was effectively an experiment for them. But it was really good. I loved it.
It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And that was the first aircraft that they had proper ground handling because of the EFM. It was the first aircraft to have proper simulated tyre damage. So you could land the aircraft badly enough that you would pop tyres, or even if you locked up the brakes and so on. It was brilliant. Really, really brilliant. And at the KA-50, I remember when the KA-50 came out, the very first time that I sat in the cockpit, it was the first cockpit they had with full... was it 5 dimensions of freedom or whatever? I forget.
60 OF.
60 OF, that's what it is. I'm wearing my track IR, my little and I'm moving my head about, and I was like, oh yes, this is good.
Yeah, because originally the cockpits, when they tried to sort of create some kind of feeling of 60 OF, it was like 2D assets that sort of just overlapped, and they used parallax to give the 3D effect, and then... Yeah, the Toad came out and I was like, oh my god, it's a proper 3D cockpit. Wow.
Yeah, and things like the heads-up displays. Like, it was the very first time. I've now subsequently seen heads-up displays in real life, and in real life they're kind of mind-blowing the way they work. But it was really cool to get in the KA-50, bring up the HUD, and be like, well, it really is. It's focused to infinity. I can move my head around and the symbology is always in the right place. That's crazy. And I move my face closer to it and it doesn't get bigger. It's weird.
Yeah. God, talk Su-25 remake. I would, yes, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. I've always had a soft spot for the Frogfoot. Like, it is. No,
okay.
I'd buy that.
Chat. Hit us up. Tell us right now, what aircraft would you want? And Frantic, you're not allowed to answer.
You're not allowed to answer, Frantic. Yeah, we know what he wants.
Everybody, just hit us with an aircraft designation. Boom, go for it.
Yeah.
And no, Frantic, you were too fast. Let other people speak.
Yeah, Frogfoot. Yeah,
Froggy.
Yeah. Like, and I think they could do it as well.
Well, like the original Su-25 or the Su-25T, because I think the T is still a little bit problematic. But the 25, yes, you could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Su-27S. Oh, car. Oof, you dirty boy.
I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what's coming. Like, to see what people are thinking. Like, in terms of that. Fair FM with the F4. I'm guessing Phantom. Like, yeah, we're going to talk the Phantom.
Yeah. Piper 28. Yeah.
What's that? Because the AT08, the crop duster. That would be quite good.
Ooh, I like that. Somebody popped that up one time as a joke. It was like a April Fool's, and I was like, I don't care that you're joking. I want this.
Well, Sergeant Sloth, you could be very happy because the Eurofighter is indeed coming to the DCS. Right, so looking at these full fidelity Su-27.
Yeah, I would love that.
I would love that too, and I don't think it's outside the bounds of ridiculous that they could do it. Like, I think they could pull that off.
I think for an early flanker, it would probably be fine, but for something like the Su-27S, I think we're maybe pushing it a little.
Killian Ortman with the F-105. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Don't we already have that as a community mod? I think there's
Starfire is the F-104, isn't it?
Oh, I'm getting mixed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. B-52. People are really going for this.
MiG-31. Don't think you'd get a MiG-31. Like, no. I don't think, but
maybe a 25.
You might get a 25. Like, I think a third party would do a MiG-25. Monster radar on that aircraft, like, and it basically ran on alcohol.
and it had a nasty habit of eating its own engines.
Yeah. B-17. Do you know what? Like, I mean, I know we dunk on World War II in DCS quite a lot, but I think a B-17 would work quite well.
It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Car, you're right. I actually misunderstood the designation. I was thinking of the Su-27SM, which is the modernized one. I guess the S would be fine.
J11D. That's
Wags said MiG-31 was too boring. I guess it's basically just a missile platform. Like, you take off, you climb to like 50,000 feet, you accelerate, and you fire a lot of missiles, and then you go home.
I'm getting out playing. Yes, okay, right. The J11, the J11D. So that's the Chinese Su-27.
We have it.
You could definitely do that. We've got it as a
low Mach.
It's not a full. It's not a full fidelity. Yep. So J11.
Yeah.
PO2. What is that?
I don't know. Some of these I don't even know.
Oh, Polikarov PO2. It's a biplane.
Ooh. Okay. Well, we already have a biplane in DCS, so that's not totally crazy.
Yeah. Now, is that not what, like, the Night Witches flew? Like, famous Russian all-female squadron who caused absolute carnage. Yeah, I'm sure they flew that.
I have no idea. Super Tucano. We have a community mod for the Super Tucano, which looks quite nice.
That is coming.
Razbam repeatedly said they were going to make a Super Tucano, but they have provided very little evidence. But Razbam, of course, are making every single aircraft ever made.
Yeah. Fair FM saying the B-17 with multi-crew. Imagine, yeah. I think it would be.
That'd be cool.
Think it would be really good. Like, it would sell. I mean, that thing you wouldn't even need to advertise. It would just be gone.
But I'm thinking it wasn't the.
Do you know what the funny thing is, right? And I'm going to totally own to my knowledge of the Night Witches. My entire knowledge of the Night Witches comes from the Sabaton song.
Okay, there you go.
But they were awesome because I then went and did some reading about them afterwards, and they were entirely awesome. Yeah.
Entirely
what we
awesome.
got? A Mirage 3. Yeah, that would be cool.
Frantic wants a QRA mod for the Typhoon so that you have to drink several cups of tea and a launch button. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. QRA simulator. You basically sit in a box listening to something go tick, 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 and eat Yorkies and consume tea.
Yep, exactly. QRA.
Like, okay, interesting. Like, people, I guess, Tog, I don't know if you're joking there with the Sup with Camel, but what about ED doing World War One?
But Chuck, we're the ones who argued against them doing World War II.
I know, but like posing the question, I'm surprised they haven't done it. Because I mean, what is it? Rise of Flight? That's pretty damn successful and has like a lot of players and a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Rise of Flight. I think that's a very good sim.
Yeah. Actually, a Predator drone module, that would be cool as fuck.
It would be kind of cool.
I'd absolutely use that. If you had all the systems and the ability to be an AFAC in a Predator, I think people would use it. Like, I don't think it's a stupid suggestion at all. I think it's a good suggestion.
That's one that's already in the sim as an AI unit. So the assets are already there, which is cool.
I think in the battle space simulator, the ED sell to military clients, it's in as something you can actually use. And do stuff with. I'm pretty sure I've seen screenshots of that of people using it as an asset. That's cool. Yeah.
We seem to have really got chat involved in this one. This was a good question.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. F1117. Not gonna happen. I can't see that ever being in the sim, especially with it now seeming to have come back into service, which is weird.
They're doing something with it, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they were denying it all. Yeah, that's a whole strange story. They were denying it all, and it got spotted a couple of times out near Groom Lake. And then suddenly it was like, yeah, here it is, and they were being totally public with it. I don't know what they're doing.
Tog, Hindenburg. The humanity. Blackburn
Buccaneer. Fuck yes. We'd need a good Western European theatre map for that, flying around the folding app with a bucket of instant sunshine under each wing. Yep, absolutely.
I always wanted a Jaguar.
It was talked about.
Yeah.
The Jaguar was talked about, and then I think licensing killed it.
That's what I heard.
Sad times. I think the Jaguar would be a natural fit for DCS. Absolutely correct.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Okay, should we cut that one off there? And
yeah, we could go all night with that.
Definitely.
It's yeah. No, great topic. Interesting to see what people really want. And I entirely approve of the fast ground attack aircraft coming out there. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. So, as always, we're going to take this opportunity to talk about the VAF and say,
we'll pimp the VAF.
Let's pimp the VAF. Me and Chuck are both kind of founder members of the Virtual Air Force, the VAF. You'll see that we've got a Discord link. There we go. You'll see that we've got a Discord link below the video there. Go ahead and join if you're looking for a group to fly with. We have a kind of optional or opt-in mil-sim approach. You can just join and fly whatever aircraft you want. We do missions on Thursdays, or we have numbered squadrons that you can join within the VAF, which center around particular airframes. We do training, and there's the ability to achieve qualifications in different ways of employing those aircraft. So you have you have this opportunity to opt in for a bit more of a mil-sim approach. Everybody's welcome, and you should come along and say hi.
Yeah.
And there's a link in the chat.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think people sort of find their feet quite well, because not everybody wants to go full milsim, and we cater for that. But for the people who want a little bit more in depth, we do that too.
Yes, absolutely. And then apart from that, of course, I'm doing a tutorial video every Saturday, just like you saw today, that one with the JF-17. Currently doing the series on the JF-17. Will probably be quite a long time before I'm finished with that, because it has such a range of weapons that it can use. So those are going to continue. Next week, like I said, I'm going to do the C-802 AKG, which is an air-to-ground cruise missile. It has TV-based terminal guidance, so it's a bit of fun. So that'll be next week's one, and then we always follow up with the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing you're watching right now with myself and dotChuckles. So, is there anything else you wanted to say, dotChuckles?
No, I'm interested to see what Frantic Stuff is going to type in chat, because he said he's got a series suggestion.
Like the upcoming Typhoon, do an IRL history series. Okay. Frantic wants a history series.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Would that be the history of certain aircraft, or or events? Both would be actually. It's quite interesting. But that's actually a very good suggestion.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if that's something I would take on myself, because that's not really my format or the kind of thing that I do. But I think somebody should do it. So.
Oh, okay. I see where you're heading with that. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I think that is a very interesting suggestion.
Banksy, not me.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the history of these things is kind of my forte. No, that's a really good suggestion. Look into that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, indeed. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, chat. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to the channel. And, fly safe. And I guess we'll see you next time, you beautiful people. Ta-ta.